Hello, everyone, and welcome back. So, I wanted to do something with these frames that I got from the dollar store, and that's when I found this drawing of this super stacked ice cream that I did, and that's when I got an idea. But first, we're gonna need a waffle cone. To make said waffle cone, I start off with a grid, and then I use my ball tool to go into each square and then press it in until it gets like that waffle cone shape. Once I'm done, I just go around the edges of the waffle cone and cut out some squares because I wanted it to look like it's been poured into a waffle maker instead of being sculpted by me. For coloring, I just go in with my chalk pastels and then I shade it to look like a toasty waffle cone. I make sure to do the inside as well because that's going to be visible. And then I take some aluminum foil and wrap the clay around it so it keeps its shape while it's in the oven. Now, toppings, because what ice cream wouldn't be complete without toppings? And for this ice cream, we're gonna go for worms. Yeah. So to make the worms, I just roll out some noodles of clay, and I only need the tips of it. So I just take the very ends and I just use my needle tool and roll it around to give the worm some wormy wrinkles. Once I'm done, I just stick a wire in the end to make it easier to press into the ice cream scoop. For the next topping, I wanted to do some tentacles. For the suction cups of the tentacles, I just roll out some skinny noodles of clay and then I just press in with my smallest ball tool so I can see where I want those suction cups to be. And then I use my cone shaper to press down the sides some more to further define them. I go back in with my small ball tool to press in that detail a little bit more. And there you have it. It's a tentacle. For the next topping, it's gonna be bones. Because why not? For the bones, I just roll out some clay and I just round out the end of that bit of clay and then shape it into a bone shape. Okay, so I was thinking, instead of a cherry, in my brain, I was like, why not an eyeball? You know, it makes sense, right? So that's what I do. So instead of a stem, because that doesn't really make sense, why would you have a stem in your eye? That's silly, right? So I was thinking, put a screw in it. That makes so much more sense. So for the screw, all I do is I push a pin into the eye and use my flat shaper to sculpt some threads on the screw. Alright, the cone's all done and it looks so good, right? So for this ice cream, I wanted it to look melty. So I press the ball of clay into the cone and shape it to have like this melty ice cream shape. Then I go in with my needle tool so I can get an idea of where I want the roundness of the ice cream to be. Then I use this cone bristle brush tool to really press in those details that you see on ice cream. Then I go in with my toothbrush to soften it out a bit. And with the toothbrush, the bristles are soft enough so I can push the clay exactly where I need it to go without just squashing it. Since I wanted the ice cream to look melty, I'm adding in some drips here. I wanted it to look like it's melting into the cracks of the waffle cone, so I'm cutting away some clay, and then I'm just gonna manipulate it down into the cracks of the ice cream cone. Oh, I didn't mention, I'm gonna be doing the classic chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla flavors. I was gonna do all the crazy colors and flavors of my drawing, but I didn't plan accordingly, and I made the waffle cone too big, so I could only do 3 scoops. It wasn't gonna be able to fit into the frame. In all, it looks so nice. I like this, though I still like the idea of the multiple tiers of scoops. Oh, another way you can make ice cream is if you tear the clay as you're forming like a ball. You can kind of see me doing it here. It makes that natural ice cream rip texture. So you can also do it this way. For the strawberry layer, I wanted it to have like a swirl in it. So I mix up some pink and place some white and red together and kind of swirl it around to have some swirls in it. It didn't come out exactly how I wanted, but I painted in the details of the swirl that I actually wanted to see. I also make sure to sculpt in some drips for this layer as well. For texturing this layer, I do the same method that I do on the chocolate scoop. I don't think I mentioned, I also use the back of my toothbrush to smooth out some of the detailing that I did with the brushes. It also helps add to that realistic look of ice cream. I also wanted some chunks of strawberry in there, so I just cut up some red clay and then just blend it in with my X-Acto knife. So for the top layer, that layer is going to be vanilla, though it doesn't look like it right now. I wanted it to glow, so I start off by mixing some glow-in-the-dark clay with some of this wasabi color green clay, and I kind of wanted it to look radioactive in a way. So that's the color I went for, and I like the color, I really do, but after I'm sitting with it, it looks like banana ice cream, and that's not what I want. I wanted vanilla, but oh, the toppings are done. So we're gonna put those in, and we're putting the bones in the chocolate layer, the worms in the strawberry layer, and the tentacles in the vanilla layer. So I wanted the ice cream to be kind of radioactive coloring, but not banana ice cream color, but like a slightly radioactive vanilla. But I fix it later and I think it looks pretty good. And do you guys, like, anytime you make something and like it comes out pretty much how you pictured it, shake? That's me. Shakes of excitement. So on to painting. I just go in with the chocolate layer with the chocolatey base coat, also painting in the drips of where the chocolate's gonna run down to. Then I build up the layers of the chocolate ice cream with more chocolatey colors. So I wanted this to have a certain look to it. So my vision for this was to look like early 2000s claymation in a way. Like, do you guys remember the show Crashbox? It was on HBO. I used to watch it when I was younger, and basically everything looked kind of dry and wet in certain places. Like, does that make sense? Like, I don't know. I'm kind of going for that vibe. Like, you can put this ice cream in that show, if you guys know that show. But anyways, that's the vibe I'm going for. So to kind of get that look, I don't go in with too much detail as far as the way I'm painting. Like for the worm, for instance, when I paint that, I go in with a wormy color for the worm. And then for the shadow, I go pretty dark, but I don't do much to blend that in other than just a simple wash to kind of mellow it out a little bit. But as far as shading, that's about it. For highlights, I just go in a little bit with a very pale pink that you can see here, and I just do that to define some of the lines a bit. But really, the painting is pretty simple. I hope this is all making sense. For the tentacles, I go in with this like magenta color because I wanted it to complement the ice cream scoop, which I like. But what I don't like is the yellow that I went in for these suction cups. I quickly changed that out for this pink color, which looks so much better. The pink kind of ties in with the pink of the strawberry scoop. It makes it look more cohesive, right? I'm finally covering up the green chips in there. I was not gonna leave that there because it's gonna be vanilla with chocolate chips. For the eyeball, I'm not gonna paint it red because it's an eye. I mean, eyes can be red, but anyways, to kind of give a nod to it being in place of a cherry, I redden it on the corners, but then go in with some white to brighten it back a little bit. Then I draw in some veins. For the screw, I start off with a black base coat, then I go over on top of it with some silver paint. For the iris, I went in with a nice muted green. So I go in this creamy white color, and I just dry brush it all over this scoop, and it looks so good. I'm so much more happy with it. This makes it look so much better. It actually ties in a whole lot better with the rest of the ice cream. Because if I were to leave it unpainted, it would look kind of weird, you know? I gave the strawberry scoop some strawberry drizzle, and it kind of looks like blood. And I was like, huh, this is fitting. I like it. So to finish off this ice cream, I just glossed the eye and the strawberry glaze with some gloss glaze. Then I go over the tentacles and the worms with some satin glaze. And then it's finally done. Well, not quite. We still need to put it in the frame. So in the frame, it looks nice, but I don't like the black background. So we're gonna change that. And I wanted to go in the sky with some nice fluffy clouds, you know? But I started painting the clouds and it looked too painterly. So I changed it and simplified the shapes to make them look a little bit more cartoony. And that's when I came out with this. Then I go on top of this with some satin glaze and I kind of stipple it on with my brush. So when you see it in certain lights, it looks kind of painted. But yeah, that's it. It's finally done. Let's look at the final results. Thank you all so much for joining me today, and I hope you all enjoyed this just as much as I did creating this. Let me know what you all think in the comments down below, and I'll see you soon. Bye!